One cannot reflect comprehensively on an event like the Third Global Gathering and a book about the gathering in a few moments. Am I coming through, Kaisley?
Excellent.
Yes, you sound great.
So I will follow the testimony culture of the forum, lifting up only several of the elements which strike me today as of abiding significance and worthy of further consideration, both from the forum itself, the gathering, and from the book. Organizing a global gathering is for me like distance running. The best part is when it's over. The last color photograph in the Third Global Gathering book, Happy at the End, not only conveys this sentiment, which many of us felt, but it also gives me the opportunity to thank two of the participants who played primary roles in the creation of the beauty of the gathering and of the book about the gathering. Without you, Magali and Kim, there would have been no thumbs up at the end. That the Third Global Gathering would take place in Latin America was self-evident for the GCF committee, and we can take away the photo now if you like. After global gatherings in Africa and Asia, little reflection was needed. More difficult was the question, where in Latin America? The feasibility study included visits to several countries, with Cuba emerging as the favorite. But late in the process, it became clear that the time was not right for an interchurch global gathering in that country. Quickly thereafter, through wide consultation in country and in the continent, Bogotá emerged as the ordained place. It must have been providential. Colombian church leaders became a source of inspiration for many of us. The Bogotá book contains traces of the gifts they gave us. Their welcome on the first day as they recounted their ecclesial journeys with Jesus Christ, their music during morning prayers contributing grace and peace to the services led by the pillars, their stunning cultural show with its spectacular colors and astounding dancers. If there are any Colombians among us today, know how grateful we are for what you gave us then and what you continue to give us. Though we finally did not meet in Cuba, one of the elements most profoundly shaping the gathering was revealed there during the 2017 annual meeting of the Global Christian Forum Committee in Havana. I refer to the theme of the gathering, continue Hebrews 13:1. It was Kim Kane who brought this proposal to the committee on the second morning of the meeting, after a night that for him was either sleepless or spiritual or perhaps both. The committee quickly caught the vision for the biblical exhortation, which would become the core message of the gathering, and mold it decisively. The guiding purpose statement of the GCF says that the forum was created to foster mutual respect and address common challenges. The theme of the Third Global Gathering claimed that much more had been done than that in the 20 years of the forum's existence. Not only mutual respect, but also mutual love had grown. Confessions of mutual love have not always been at the heart of relationships between the older churches and the younger ones. But their timeliness today is attested in a number of ways, not least by the World Council of Churches' decision to take love as the theme of its next assembly, Christ's love, our mutual love. Over the 20 years of its existence, testimony has become the starting point for life in the forum, as it was also for the Third Global Gathering. Among the most usable gifts of the gathering are the guides to sharing of faith stories in groups, which you find in the appendix of the book. Catherine Johnson played the key role in the creation of these guides, and in the second plenary session, articulated exceptionally well why we tell each other our faith stories. I recommend for your use in your own context, both the guides and Catherine's plenary presentations. In his address on the second morning of the Global Gathering, Thomas Schirmacher presented the Global Christian Forum as a place where we learn by hearing the experience of how God acts in the lives of other people and in churches and of growing mutual relationships with other Christians. We hear that that is a good way to a sound theology. And this reminds me of something that Dana Roberts, a keynote presenter in the second Global Gathering, has written. By revealing shared grounding in a common Christ, she says, Testimonies of our experience should be a starting point for deeper theological engagement. If Thomas and Dana are right, if we have indeed learned in the forum that shared testimony and mutual love of older churches and younger churches can be both a good road to a sound theology and a starting point for deeper theological engagements, is it not important that the forum bear witness to these learnings? The GCF has not been called to issue statements on theological controversies, but it has been called to testify to its own pilgrimage with Jesus Christ, as it did in the 2013 document, Our Unfolding Journey with Jesus Christ, Reflections on the Global Christian Forum Experience. Perhaps it is time for the forum to update the testimony of its unfolding journey, incorporating into it the theological insights gained in the nearly 10 years since that document was first drafted. I hope that you will remember and read Gabrielle Thomas's presentation the evening of day 2, Receptive Learning Between Churches. I think that it points a way forward for many conversations in the forum's unfolding journey of mutual love. Reflecting on her experience at the Third Global Gathering, Gabrielle wrote in her new book, for the good of the church, unity, theology, and women. She wrote this: since Christianity is growing in the majority world, the newer churches have notably different gifts to share, and those of us based in locations such as the UK have a great deal to learn and receive from them. Receptive ecumenism, receptive learning, could prove an effective approach to ecumenical engagement for these kinds of conversations and learning. I agree with Gabrielle, and would add that the approaches and tools of receptive ecumenism, of receptive learning, could prove useful also for conversations inside and outside the forum with the groups that the Third Global Gathering identified as underrepresented or missing. Here in Bogotá, we wrote in our message to the churches, we yearned in particular for the gifts of more women, young people, indigenous people, and persons with disabilities. One regret for me and for some others, as evidenced in plenary and interchurch group discussions, as reported in the book, was our failure to give adequate attention to the Common Challenge Initiative Call to Mission and Perceptions of Proselytism, a Global Conversation. The Bogotá book contains a fuller account from Rosalie and Andrei Koromansky than we were able to receive and consider in the gathering itself. I encourage you to read it carefully, including the questions at the end of their account, questions aimed initially at facilitating discussions during the gathering, but which may prove useful in future conversations about mission and proselytism, both inside and outside the forum. The Global Christian Forum Committee met in Rome in January 2012 to consider the path forward after the second global gathering. Welcoming us to Vatican City, Bishop Brian Farrell confessed that initially he had not been a believer in the forum, but had become one. In Bogotá, Bishop Brian not only acted like a believer in what the forum had become, but outlined in 6 challenging points his hope and prayer for the forum's journey ahead. I join my brother in his hope and prayer and encourage all forum believers, not least current GCF leadership, to listen again to and meditate on Brian's 6 points, which you find in the book. The third global gathering closed with a commissioning service. Among those who deserve thanks for preparing that service, as well as for preparing daily prayers and interchurch groups, are Anne-Cathy Cabert and John Gibault. In regard to the commissioning service itself, permit me 2 comments. Commissioning Kaisley as secretary of the forum was not only commissioning a gifted individual to a particular ministry, it was also commissioning someone whose personal profile reflects more accurately than the face of the new global church than does my own. And this was something that I, together with the GCF committee, had hoped for from the beginning of the search for a successor. We did not know if God would grant our wish. Thank God, God did. The second comment is to remind us that not only Kaisley was commissioned in that final prayer service, each of us was also. I invite you to meditate anew on our commissioning, as you will find it in the report. It includes these words: in the mission of Jesus Christ, we are constantly brought together and sent out to do God's work of unity, healing, justice, and peace, sent forth as messengers of reconciliation, salvation, unity, and peace. May our love for one another be the sign that we are your disciples. Let mutual love continue indeed.